everyone, and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our December 8th, 2020 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including Noel Neill being honoured by the Superman and Lois TV series. We're going to be talking DC Future State, new comic book creative teams, and so much more. We're also going to turn to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show as he adjusts himself more comfortably in his seat, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Doing well, mate. And yourself?
Oh, if I was any better, they'd have to put me down. I think that's how this works. No, but, no one wants to hear about, euthanasia or anything like that. What they are here to hear about is Superman. And since WGBS Live is all about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us right now on YouTube. So about halfway through the show, if we don't have too much going on, which I don't really know how that's going to go this week because we're kind of playing catch up, we'll start taking your calls. So how do we do that? Well, you're going to need Skype. Really sorry about that, but that's how it works. Go on Skype, find Superman homepage, and then wait and message us that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple things. One, message us. Don't just start calling us because that can screw things up. And if you're watching WGBS Live on an external speaker, please turn that down as we are on a bit of a delay, and that can create some feedback and distortion and all kinds of stuff.
Yep, and for those tuning in live via YouTube, we ask you to get involved in the YouTube comments there. Chat with fellow fans, ask questions. Michael and I will get to those and respond to them as the show goes on and answer any questions you might have. But if you want your chat, your comment featured live on the screen during the show, feel free to post a super chat. Now all you have to do is there's a little dollar symbol there underneath your YouTube player. Click on that. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide how much you want to donate towards the show, and then we will feature your comment or question on the screen live as the show goes to air. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, who is with us tonight, John Patrick Van Pelt. We appreciate your support. And if you want to support the Superman homepage, then you can click the join button below on YouTube and become a YouTube member, or you can head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Well, it's nice to see so many people tuning in for what I'm hoping is going to be a steady, non-stop internet stream 1 hour show. It's all been working fine today. No thunderstorms in the area. So I'm happy that things are running smoothly. I did manage to get on and do another 15 or 20 minutes once we abandoned last week's show, Michael. So I got the fan favorite question done and all that kind of stuff. We had a few responses. So thankfully I managed to just kind of sneak those in before anything died again on me last week.
That's good. I'm glad you were able to get that done. Because I know what it's like when your internet just dies on you for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, and John's mentioning my background. Yeah, I've got some Kryptonians knocking outside my window out there, and I'm not going to let them in because, I just don't trust them.
Well, I don't know. If you're cold, they're cold. So let them in. Oh, wait, it's hot where you are right now.
That's right. Not cold at all.
No, it's funny. One of my Australian friends was posting, the temperature where he lives, and he also did it to in Fahrenheit just for comparison.
Right. Yep.
But I didn't realize that's what he was doing, and I'm like, how is it 97 degrees Celsius and you're not dead? You'd be literally baking. So it's been that kind of thing.
And Kenny, yes, he's asking, did we see the episode titles for the first 5 episodes of Lois, Superman and Lois? They haven't been officially announced as yet or confirmed. I did see them, and we kind of spoke to them briefly last week or the week before even on this show. So once I get confirmation on those titles, I will be posting them on the website. And Michael, you've got another compliment from Justin on your Action Comics t-shirt. Action Comics number 23 there.
Yep.
Surprisingly, no one's mentioned my shirt, which is just flashing non-stop as I talk.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that, but I was wondering if that was just some kind of screwing up with the video feed. So there you go.
It's this it's a Velcro thing. It sticks on the shirt and it's voice activated. It is kind of playing up with the yellow part in the background of the with the green screen thing, but yeah, so it flashes as I talk.
No, I've had this shirt for about 10 years, and I was in a little bit of a rush to get ready this evening. Usually I like to sit down about 20 minutes before we're ready, and today it was 5. So I had to grab like the first shirt, and this was literally, it was just like, okay, it fits, it's going to be fine. So
Yeah.
it's fine,
All
everything's
good.
fine.
So, well, let's get into tonight's topics. I want to, we don't have any movie news, so we'll just have to, push on
Yeah.
and skip that and jump straight into the television things where Noel Neill was honoured this week by, we found out this week that she has been honoured by the Superman and Lois TV series with the naming of the costumes department stage door after her. Bitsy Chulok posted this image on her social media accounts. It says Noel Neill, her date of birth, date of passing, and the fact that she was the first actress to play Lois Lane in the film serials Superman and Adam Man vs. Superman, as well as going on to continue the role in the 2nd to 6th seasons of the Adventures of Superman TV series from the 1950s. So that's fantastic that past actors are being honoured in this way. Obviously, previously we had found out that Kirk Allen had been honoured with Stage 2 door in having a sign in his honour.
Yeah, I mean, the more the merrier. If they're, when we talked about it before, I said I thought it was really cool that they were honoring previous iterations of live action Superman, and now that you're, honoring Noel with this, that's kind of cool. I'd almost wish she was like the door for the Daily Planet set or the newspaper set, but costumes works okay as well, I guess.
Yeah, true.
It's the thought that counts.
Exactly. And no, Tina, Superman and Lois hasn't started yet. It will premiere on the CW on February 23rd, Tuesday, February 23rd. We were just talking about the fact that some of the episode titles have leaked online, and I'm just waiting for confirmation to post those. Yeah, I'm sure there might be. John saying,
are we going to have to move the show again?
Why is that? Oh, because of being on Tuesday nights?
Yeah. That's we had to move Supergirl. We had to move from Monday to Tuesday because of Supergirl, and then they betrayed us completely and went to Sunday nights. So
we'll have to think about that. In the new year, we'll talk about it. Yeah, we don't want to be on the same night as Supergirl. As Superman and Lois, because we won't have any viewers. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Yeah, Patrick Van Pelt saying, do they have the Christopher Reeve stage? Well, we don't know. We don't know what other actors have been honoured in this way with signs on the doors. Kirk and Noel might be the only ones, considering the fact that they were the first to play the Clark and Lois roles. So, Kenneth Reader asking, where can you get one of these flashing Superman emblems? Good question. This was a gift that was given to me many, many years ago and by my brother-in-law, and he got it somewhere when he was on holiday here in Australia, so I don't know where they're available. I can try to find out, and if I do, I'll let you guys know next week. But so it's nice to see that the actors are being honoured that way with the Superman and Lois TV series, which, as I said, will premiere on the CW on Tuesday, February 23rd on the CW. So, yeah, we'll have to talk about what night the show will be on for us. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. Anyway, pushing on. That's really all there is with this, the television side of things. We wait for Superman and Lois to happen next year. Kenneth saying he wouldn't mind if we moved the show to Wednesday nights while Superman and Lois is going on. Maybe we'll run a poll, and I will do that. We'll do that next week sometime, or in the next few weeks, and see what night of the week people would prefer. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I can make it work.
Yeah. All right. Well, on the comic book side of things, DC Future State is the big event happening over 2 months, starting January and February 2021. DC released this video trailer promoting the upcoming event. So let me play that for you right now.
Who are the new heroes carrying on the mantle of old? What has become of the icons? And what new evils will they confront? This is Future State. Destiny of the DC Universe.
So there you have it. A nice promo there for DC Future State, the 2-month event that will look at possible futures and long-time futures of the DC superheroes and where they might end up in the far-flung future.
Yeah, I won't be partaking. I am really interested to see, what the future of the Superman titles and who the new creators are, because we haven't gotten that yet. More on that in a minute. But I am impressed that they're putting this much effort into it, because it's such a different time now than like 5 years ago when you had like the DCU campaign and Convergence. They didn't have like a big trailer for Convergence or a big trailer for DCU, but we get it for this. So it's interesting. I like that comics are now such a big multimedia that we get trailers.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing in the way they animate some of the graphics that are obviously part of the covers that we'll be seeing over those 2 months is a nice way to go. I appreciate the effort that is put in. So it spins out of the finale of Dark Knight's Death Metal #7, which is on sale January 5th. DC Future State will take you on a journey from the near future to the end of time to witness the destinies of heroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Justice League, Teen Titans, and so many more. And if you want more information, head to dccomics.com/future state. And this past week, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Brazil's CCXP Worlds was a online virtual event that took place with hundreds of different panels right across the weekend, and DC fans were part of that with DC publishing presence at Brazil's Expo, which was saw us have different artists being part of different panels across the 3 days. The Justice League family, we had Wonder Woman, New Talent Showcase, Batman, and Superman. I haven't heard much come out of the Superman panel at all. I haven't seen really any reports on anything that really came out of that. I wasn't able to tune in myself. But out of the Batman panel, we did find out that the new creative team behind Batman Superman after DC Future State will be none other than Gene Luen Yang, teamed up with Ivan Rice on art.
That's an interesting pairing. I saw Gene Luen Yang's name, and I'm like, I'm a little uneven about him for specific reasons. But it'll be interesting to see him tackling both Superman and Batman as a duo and what that's going to bring. Because I don't think he has to worry so much about the secret identities at that point.
So, Gene Yang was obviously very well regarded in reference to his Superman Smashes the Klan graphic novel, which was just phenomenal. But has been derided a little bit over what he wrote in his most recent stint on the Superman comics. Was it during the New 52 that he was on one of the titles.
Yeah, he was on Action Comics
Yeah.
right after, 5 years ago actually, and he was part of the whole Truth storyline that went down so well.
Yeah, so he's also writing the upcoming Batman Superman DC Future State 2-issue event, which will, as I said, be around in January, February. So, but then he'll be kicking back onto the main Batman Superman comic book, resuming with issue number 16 in March. So we have that creative team sorted out in regards to the upcoming books once the DC Future State event concludes at the end of February. But we still don't know yet who will be taking over from Brian Michael Bendis once, his last issue is this month in December. Then DC Future State starts and kicks on January, February. We don't know who will be taking over on those Action Comics and Superman titles in March. I was expecting to hear from that Superman CCXP panel, but supposedly nothing was revealed.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get isn't it like next week that the solicits are coming out?
Yeah, that would be middle of the month. Yeah, next week. So this time next week we might be talking about that.
I'm hoping so, and I'm hoping that it's a nice surprise.
Or you know what? It could be 5 minutes after the end of this show that they announce it.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to drop the solicits like right as we're wrapping up, and if it's going to be, if everybody isn't familiar with what an acrostic is, it's where you see like a paragraph written, and all the first letters of the different paragraphs spell out something. If you look at if they do that and you look at the solicits, it's going to say "Suck it, Steve and Mike." So, because DC's got it in for us. I have no idea why. But now I'm going to claim complete paranoia, and I'm just going to keep saying that they're out to get us until they are forced to print something that they're not, in which case we'll use that to get interviews.
Sounds good to me. It's a plan. Don't think it will succeed, but it's a plan.
Well, look, step 1, steal all underpants. Step 3, profit. I don't know what step 2 is, but we'll figure that out when we get there.
Okay, pushing on. Let's have a look at what comic books are available this week in the world of Superman. If you're a comic book reader, this is what you have to look forward to this week. We have Dark Knight's Death Metal, the last stories of the DC Universe, which is available in a variant cover, which is a rehash. I've seen this one before. It's part of a triptych, if I'm not mistaken. Also out this week, and it's supposedly really good, is DC's Very Merry Multiverse, one-shot, 80-page giant. It has a number of different stories. We'll get to that in a second. Also out this week, Superman Endless Winter number 1, which is part 3 of the Endless Winter story, but I believe you can read it on its own. And that is also available in this really cool variant cover, which makes up part of our background on supermanhomepage.com. And then on the collected side of things, we have Justice League Vengeance is Thine trade paperback out this week. And also out this week is Superman vs. Wonder Woman tabloid edition hardcover.
Ooh.
And then on the DC Digital First Publishing Program front, we have the 12th chapter of Injustice Year Zero available to download as of today. So that's what's out this week in comic books. You got a bit of a ooh going on there.
Oh, just that tabloid-sized reprinting of Superman versus Wonder Woman. I appreciate that they're doing kind of what they did with the Superman versus Muhammad Ali reprint, where they're putting it in the original publication size. So pain in the butt to find some place to put it, but it's kind of cool to have nonetheless.
Yeah. Some of these hardcover omnibus tabloid edition big thingos that they always release are so heavy, and you have struggled to find anywhere to put them. They make shelves bow.
I am not allowed to put any of my heavy omnibuses, like the really, really heavy ones, on a shelf that's more than like 2 high. because Rachel is paranoid that they're going to fall and hurt one of the dogs. So, which in all honesty could happen. I mean, some of these things, I have this Captain America thing. It's called the Vibranium edition, and I thought it was just going to be an omnibus. It came in a box that like blocked the door. I mean, this thing was huge. So, I appreciate that they're trying to put these into some really nice additions, but they're also going to kill somebody at some point.
And the shipping on those types of things is nearly worth more than the actual item itself because they're so heavy.
Yeah, especially where you guys are, where shipping is insane. I mean, it's expensive here, but international shipping, I don't even want to think about that because every once in a while I send a package to a friend in England, and it's like $70.
Yeah, it's just nuts
for a small package. So
yeah, not worth it. All right, so that's the comic book side of things there. Now, I mentioned DC's Very Merry Multiverse. It's a 80-page giant that includes a number of stories written by a number of writers with a number of artists doing the artwork on those. And our reviewer, Tony Parker, has submitted his review of this issue, and he's given a little blurb and rating for each of the stories. And overall, he gave it a 4 out of 5. He says, by rule of averages, it would be a 3.6, but he rounds it up to his real feeling for it. And he says, all in all, I would recommend this issue wholeheartedly. There is something for everybody in here. So, yeah, I haven't read it myself. I'm downloading it tonight when I get my Comixology app opened up on my iPad, and we'll be checking it out. These holidays-themed stories are always a little bit of fun.
Yeah, at least this year it's not the post-apocalyptic holiday thing they did 2 years ago. Yeah, I like the fact that Captain Carrot's on the cover. That makes me smile.
So that's the cover there for you. Harley Quinn bursting through the Batman snowman that they're building, obviously there. And you've got Bizarro and a couple of other. You got Lobo there at the front. Different Superman from different multiverse versions are all there right on the front. So 10 Tales of Heroic Holiday Hijinks. So you might want to check that out.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, we're almost at the halfway point of tonight's show. I want to revisit a topic that we were supposed to talk about last week, which I don't think we really got into proper, and that's the whole glowing Superman shining thing. So we're going to be coming back to that topic right after these messages, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode, so stand by.
If you're enjoying WGBS TV Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by visiting patreon.com/Superman homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
To stop the evil Doomsday, you need a hero who's more than a man. He's
been called the greatest, the strongest, the first among heroes. High-voltage villain Conduit is powered by kryptonite, but with krypton cannon blasting, Laser Superman powers him down. Conduit will learn, don't mess with the S. Superman. It's the dreaded Doomsday, the most fearsome force in the universe. Even Doomsday will learn, you don't mess with the S. Superman figures each sold separately, blocks not included.
Don't mess with the S.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that Conduit got an action figure release a couple months after he died. So I guess that's a consolation prize.
Indeed.
Here's your participation trophy.
Yes, he was a short-lived character and got his own action figure. I mean, we've been waiting years and decades for some characters to get action figures. Or more prominent.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
It made sense at the time. I mean, Massacre also got an action figure, and he was dead by then too. So that's two figures they made of characters that had been killed relatively recently in the Superman books.
Oh well. All right. As I mentioned before the break, I wanted to get your opinion and your thoughts on this revelation from the other history of the DC universe. 2 weeks ago, this book was released, and it was revealed by Black Lightning that Superman has a shine to him. He says, I didn't know all of his powers, none of us knew everything he could do, but I think the same intense density that made him bulletproof prevented his skin from absorbing light. So it reflected it just a bit, just enough to give him an unearthly, heavenly glow.
Yeah, I saw this. I haven't read the book yet. And I'm kind of wondering what they're going for that. Are they just trying to make him look more inhuman by saying that he glows a little bit? Is it supposed to be like angelic? Is there like a nefarious thing? I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the book, so I'm not really trying to say one thing or another since I haven't read it yet. But this seems to be a weird fact to kind of reveal. Like, you know, it's kind of like back when Mark Waid did Birthright, and he revealed that Superman could basically see auras, and that's why he's a vegetarian. It's just like I get where you're going for this. I'm not sure that I like it, but. It's interesting to get what I was more stuck on is we didn't know what his powers was back then. We didn't know all the things that he could do. And I'm like, okay, so we're doing the whole, maybe people were a little nervous about Superman at first, but also revealing that he's glowing. How does that work for Clark Kent?
Yes, exactly. That was my point when I wrote up the article was I know the secret identity thing isn't a thing at the moment because he's revealed who he is, but before that, you know, does his face shine? Because that's the only part of him that, you know, like what's going on there. But I also didn't understand that the intense density that made him bulletproof prevented his skin from absorbing light. Isn't that how he gets his powers? He absorbs yellow sunlight.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, if we're gonna look at Black Lightning as an unreliable narrator in this case, because it's all from his perceptions, maybe that's how Black Lightning thinks his powers work.
It's a weird
but and at first I was like, okay, is it because of Black Lightning's powers that he sees Superman as glowing? But again, from the way this dialogue plays out, it's always been like that. So it was even before Jefferson Pierce got his powers, you know, Superman was just glowing.
And obviously people have made the leap to the Twilight vampires shining in the sun.
I mean, like, if the power goes out in the newsroom, is, like, Clark's desk area still, like, bright as day? I mean...
Does it make it easier for Lois to sleep next to him because she's got, like, a nightlight?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not making fun of the idea, because as Twitter proved yesterday, people will complain about everything and want logic from things that don't really require logic. So we are talking about an alien from another planet that absorbs sunlight and that gives him superpowers. So it's just like a glow isn't like a bridge too far. It's just still kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, yeah, sure, if he's got a bit of a glow about him, like they say when women are pregnant, they have a glow about them. That's just like a kind of like a, you know, a metaphorical thing. I don't know, but yeah, it would be a bit weird if he did kind of have a shine about him. I mean, sure, some people just have an aura about them. You know, that would be kind of interesting way of saying, you know, Superman just had this kind of otherworldly feeling about him when he was around you. But yeah, it's just an odd one, and I thought I wanted to get your... It was one of the holdovers from last week that we didn't get the chance to talk about that I wanted to get your perspective on.
Yeah, I thought maybe, okay, after a week I'll have another opinion on it, and apparently no, that's exactly how I feel.
Fair enough too. All right, let's have a look at our fan favorite question for last week. Here is our opening intro. And before we get into that, John's asked, bright as day, dark as night, what are your thoughts? I'm not sure what he's referring to.
I guess maybe he's like comparing and contrasting Batman and Superman, like, you know, Batman's dark as night and Superman's bright as day. I'm not quite sure either. So
yeah, okay, but yeah, not sure. John, if you want to clarify, we can answer to that. But the fan favorite segment of our show, as I said last week, I barely scraped through getting that fan favorite question asked, which was what, Michael?
Do you have a favorite original Superman sketch or drawing by a famous artist? And Douglas Meacham wrote, in recent years at conventions, I've commissioned post-crisis Superman artists to draw versions of the character that they did not get to work on while they were on the books. So far, I've gotten The Last Son of Krypton, a.k.a. The Eradicator, drawn by Bob McLeod, Gladiator Superman from the Exile story by Tom Grummett, and Electric Blue Superman by Jerry Ordway. I hope to commission more unique art when we start getting back to conventions, hopefully next year.
Yeah, so there's the... is that Brett Breeding?
Looks like it.
Yeah, and then there's the other one by Tom Grummett.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. And the third one there is by Jerry Ordway of the Electric Superman. So from 1997?
Yes.
Yes. Interesting year. All right, thanks for sending those in, Doug. I really appreciate it, and your ongoing support as well. Next up, we have an entry from Daniel Nielsen. As I bring up his image right here, he says, here is my favorite original piece of Superman art. It's not by a famous person, but it's done by my best friend during high school, who really is cool. It's a... What does it say here? Sorry, what's really cool is that it's white on black scratch art, meaning that similar to Batman the Animated Series, the starting point was a black piece of paper and the white parts were then scratched out. Then color was added. I have it framed and hung in my basement. And then he goes on to say, wish us a happy holidays. So thank you, Daniel. That's a really cool piece of art.
Yeah, that is cool. That is neat.
Yeah,
I like that.
Superman Doomsday. So very cool. So they're the two responses that we got to the fan favorite question this week. Apologies to anyone who didn't get to hear it or decided not to listen to the show because of the mess that it was. But hopefully we'll get more responses, as we have been in recent weeks, to our new fan favorite question, which is, Michael?
Well, do you have a fan favorite piece of art that you have?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you for reminding me. I grabbed it just before the show. This is one of my treasured items in my collection. It is a pencil ink sketch by Win Mortimer, one of the classic Superman artists back in the day. This was actually done by him a week before he passed away. I found out a week later that he had passed away, so it may well be one of the final pieces of art that he ever drew, but it's a really cool illustration of Superman bending an anchor, and Win Mortimer is one of the fantastic early Golden Age, Silver Age Superman artists.
Yeah, I forgot to pull the piece that I did. I commissioned Tom Zoller, who draws Love and Capes, and he was an artist on the My Little Pony book from IDW for a little while there, and he's done a couple other creator-owned projects. I had him do a commission of Superman, because Tom Zoller loves Superman, and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So it's Superman kind of flying up and giving her a flower that I had him do for my wife. So it's a really sweet little piece. If I had a second, it's not a Superman picture, but I had Carl Kessel do a Guardian sketch.
Nice.
With the helmet and everything, and he colored it as well. And it's I can't, when we're in the new place, I'm definitely getting it framed and putting it up. But it's such a cool little sketch, and not something, getting a Superman sketch is to me, not to anybody else, it's kind of obvious. I want to, like, if I ever had Jerry Ordway do something, I'd want him to draw Gangbuster,
right?
Or Superman as Gangbuster with the shirt ripped open. I mean, that way it could get a twofer. Yeah. But yeah, just like have Dan Jurgens do like an Agent Liberty sketch or something like that, because they all have their little, the characters that they kind of created. And it's kind of cooler to ask for that than Superman, because I'm sure they've drawn Superman millions of times.
Yeah, no, I'd love to get some kind of art sketch by Dan Jurgens. He would be phenomenal to get something from. And if you haven't got one and you're listening live to us tonight or watching us live tonight, let us know who you would like to get a sketch by. That'll be cool to see some of your responses. But so let's move on to what is our next fan favorite question for our final episode of WGBS TV for the year.
Yeah, next week will be our Christmas episode, so I'm going to have to dig out my my Christmas shirt. Mm-hmm. But it is, do you have a favorite Superman Christmas ornament?
Yes, so there are plenty of Superman ornaments out there available. Show us a photo of your favorite Superman Christmas ornament by sending an email to us with that photo. The email is at the bottom of your screen there, info@supermanhomepage.com. Send your entries in. We will show them and read out what your description is of those items when we return to this segment next week, the fan favorite segment of our show. Show us your favorite Superman Christmas ornaments. And as I just said, it will be our final show for the year next week, being the, the 15th of December. Yep. So we'll pull up a little bit short of Christmas and the New Year to do our final show next week, but I'll remind you about that before we wrap up tonight. So yes, get involved in the fan favorite segment of our show. Do you have Christmas ornaments, Michael?
Oh, I've got a bunch of Superman Christmas ornaments. I'll have to pull out the pictures and send them to you. Mm-hmm. I've got a really nice one from the Warner Brothers store in the animated style of Superman flying upwards with like a globe above him. I've got this really kind of blown glass one that he looks all messed up on. Mm-hmm. When they did the postage stamp in 1998, they did a postage stamp ornament and stuff. I've got a bunch of Superman. Believe me, if we see a Superman ornament, we get it.
So looking at some of the responses about what sketches they would like to get, people have, Kenneth said he'd like to get a Superman meets Captain Kirk sketch done. Doesn't say by which particular artist, but just any sketch. Anthony says he'd like to get Joe Kubert to draw a Superman for him. He was here at one of the conventions in Sydney once called Supernova, in Australia called Supernova. I know Anthony's in Perth, across the other side of the country. Crimson Ghost Comics says he has a sketch, or they have a sketch of Supergirl by Ron Randall, but no Superman sketches yet. I think that's some of the responses so far. So thank you to everyone who kind of on the spot responded to that quick question. All right, just a quick reminder that the Super Secret Soundbite and Big Question segments will be done next week. We'll be getting to those. So don't forget to send in your responses if you haven't done that yet or you're not sure what they are. The big questions that we're asking this month was, what Superman items do you like collecting the most and why? So head to the Superman homepage website. Under the contact menu, you will find you'll find the big question feedback form. You respond there, and we will read out the responses next week. Likewise, the Super Secret Soundbite contest is also going to be done next week, and the secret soundbite I'll play for you again right now so that you can hear it. And again, like the big question, the Super Secret Soundbite entry form can be found under the contact menu at our website. Here is the sound. Superman. So, as you heard, it's the word Superman from a particular song. And that's how we're kind of running this segment now. So do you know which song and artist that song is from, or that word Superman is from? If you do, as I said, head to the Superman homepage website. Under the contact menu, you'll find the Super Secret Soundbite entry form. Fill in the details, and we will read the names of every person who guesses it right when we do that segment next week. So make sure... Yes.
Our big, huge wrap-up episode, that is so giant every year. All the production values and the guests we get. It's usually just us talking.
And it runs for all of an hour.
Yeah. So, unlike other weeks where we run for an hour. So.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, we have time, plenty of time, to do a This Week in History. And also, folks, if you do want to get involved in tonight's show and be a caller, as Michael explained at the top of the show, head to Skype, search for Superman homepage, type a message to us saying that you would like to be part of the show, and we will have time to take calls and have a chat with you. You don't have to appear on camera. You can just be your voice. And, if you want to have something to say and you want to get your voice on or your face on the show, that's the way to do it. All right, so This Week in History, Michael, here is your intro.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Alrighty, it's not as empty as it was a couple weeks ago when there was nothing. But we are jumping to 1960 for this one, for the first one, World's Finest Comics number 115, that has Superman apparently ruining Batman and Robin's vacation. Oh, I thought that was Snow. The Curse That Doomed Superman is the name of it. So by this point, Superman and Batman were appearing in stories together.
So it looks like he's doing a Superman 3 there, where he's, become nasty and he's boiling the waters or something.
That's like half of the Silver Age stories. There's also a Tommy Tomorrow story and Green Arrow story, as Green Arrow was in both World's Finest and Adventure Comics at the time. Jumping ahead to 1970, you have Justice League of America, number 87, Batman King of the World. That's a very prescient title. I think that's DC's new corporate motto.
Yes.
Motto, under DC Entertainment, Batman King of the World. So and they have a picture of him on the bow of the Titanic, getting all excited. Also from that same year, 1970, you have World's Finest Comics number 200. Now at this point, folks, World's Finest was temporarily a Superman team-up book, like Brave and the Bold was a Batman one. And here he's teaming up with Robin in the Prisoners of the Immortal World, and that's it's not Mongol, but it kind of looks like Mongol on the cover there, because Mongol didn't come up just yet. Jumping ahead to 1980, we have Superman number 357, which has the main Superman story is Food for a God, and there is a Superman 2021 story. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing those in January.
Looks like 2020 at the bottom.
Yeah, but it says inside 2021. That's really weird.
That is strange.
Okay. Little discrepancy there. Also in 1980, you had Superman Family number 206. Supergirl was in a story called Strangers at the Heart's Core, because at this point, I believe Supergirl, if I'm remembering that story correctly, she was an actress on a soap opera.
Yeah.
Which is seemingly what you want to do when you're a superhero. Lois Lane is the hostage of the Harlequin. Superman has a scoop for a snoop. Lois Lane, have you ever told me the story of my life? Now, the reason why that story is titled that is because she had amnesia in this story. It's a whole big thing that was connecting the Lois and the Jimmy stories in this. And the Jimmy story was open season on redheaded reporters. But basically, Lois has amnesia. She's working at a diner, and she meets a guy, and she eventually is discovered by Superman, and he has to kind of tell her who she is. So, it was actually a good story. Jumping to 1990, we have The Adventures of Superboy. This is, of course, based on the live-action syndicated series. It was Untold Stories. It's a Mr. Mxyzptlk story. So I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't co-written by Gilbert Gottfried, because I know at one point he and Scott Lobdell wrote one of the issues, or co-wrote one of the issues. Because before Scott Lobdell broke as a comic book writer, he was a stand-up comic. Anyways, jumping ahead to 2000, one of my favorite covers, Christmas covers of all time for Superman. And this was a big deal at the time. Steve probably remembers this.
Yes.
Because it had a bunch of guest artists on it. So you had Jeff Loeb writing the story, and it was basically Superman meeting up with all of his JLA teammates and talking about the fact that Luthor had just been elected president. So you had Ed McGuinness, Berto Ramos, Rob Liefeld drawing the Aquaman segment, Mike Wieringo, Art Adams, Ian Churchill, and Joe Maduria, all doing chapters of the book. And the thing that I remember most about this is talking with Wally. He goes, like my Uncle Barry always said, vote early and often, which you can actually vote early now. So that's kind of prescient. Also that same year, Superman Adventures number 52, which has a death in the family. This was when we all got to call in and decide if Supergirl was going to die or not. That's not what happened at all. It's just the name of the story.
I love the Superman Adventures title. That was a great title.
Written by Mark Miller. You wouldn't guess it from what he would become.
To do, yeah.
And jumping ahead to 2010, Jeff Lemire was writing the Superboy title, and we had the second issue of that. That was an interesting book. It turned a little more supernatural than I liked, but it wasn't terrible at the same time. I remember being really excited that Superboy got another book, and I was like, maybe this one will go 100 issues. No. It went like 10. So in the real world, as I pull that up, we have December 8th is the birthday not only of Terry Hatcher, who was Lois Lane on Lois and Clark, but also David Harewood, who is Hank Henshaw / John Jones.
Yep, and just quickly, December 8th is also my wife's birthday, so happy birthday to my wife, Sonia.
Very happy birthday, Sonia. December 10th, which is towards the end of the week, Richard Pryor, Gus Gorman, died of a heart attack in Encino, Los Angeles, California in 2005. It is the 12th. Yeah, the 12th is Saturday, so we can sneak in Sarah Douglas's birthday. Ursa from Superman the Movie and Superman 2 also appeared in V and The Return of Swamp Thing. She was born in 1952. So that's it. That's this
week in history.
This week in history. I wish we had more time, more folks, because I could probably stretch that out a little longer. But I think that's all I could. What we had.
Mind the Gap said that he wouldn't mind seeing a This Week in History involving TV one week.
I'm sure we could. Oh, that would be kind of interesting. One of my new favorite podcasts is called Waiting for Doom, hosted by two fellow Australians, by the way. And they do a This Week in History of what issue of Doom Patrol came out. And one of the hosts, Mike, plays he rolls an 8-sided die, and that's how many guesses the co-host Paul has to guess which book it is. And they kind of go back and forth on it. I don't know if we want to do rip them off, basically. But we could probably do something like that. It would require me to actually do research ahead of time, which I'm not always good at, but I might make an effort for that, like next week, to see if there's like, look through the history of Superman on television. Man, that's going to involve going over a lot of IMDb.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. I think I can figure this out. That'd be kind of cool. Like this episode of Smallville, this episode of Lois and Clark came out on this day and this week back in whatever year it was. So that might be fun too.
Speaking of fun, going back in time, looking at things, I'm not sure. We haven't discussed. I mean, between us, because you were reviewing Supergirl and stuff like that. Remember back in the day when Neil reviewed Smallville and he'd do the knockout count, how many times certain characters got knocked out, by being hit on the head and all that kind of stuff. He's actually shown an interest in, depending on how Superman and Lois kind of hits him, about getting involved once again and doing something with the Superman and Lois TV series. So we'll have to chat about that and see who's up for, reviewing and getting involved in doing something along those lines.
It would be fun. It would be fun, like, 20 years later, him, like, finding an entirely new generation of people to argue with in the comments. God, that was a contentious group of people.
Oh, big time.
My. Like the Superman homepage comment section under the Smallville episodes was the closest thing to a bar fight this site ever saw. Yeah. I mean, seriously, like people would just, like, people were so tribal and
very protective.
Like, just, it's like there were the people that hated it and didn't think it was respecting Superman enough, and the people that loved it, and that kind of split off into the people that wanted Tom Welling to be cast as Superman no matter what. It's going to be 2150. They're going to be announcing a Superman project, and somebody's going to pop up in whatever, like, retinal scan thing we're using for the internet at the time, and it's going to say, the hologram of Tom Welling should play this.
Yeah, it was very tribal at the time, and the knockout count and that whole stats that he was keeping on how many times, there would be product placements, especially like the Yaris. That was huge. Everybody had a Yaris in Smallville at the time. And how many times...
Red Zone!
Yeah. And how much time it would take them to get from Smallville to Metropolis. It was supposed to be like 3-hour trip or something, but yet they just happened to get there in 5 minutes. And it was all these you should go back and revisit it. Neil's knockout count for Smallville is a piece of iconic history, I think.
Yeah, and the videos he did of him, like, shaving his head, like how Lionel got his head shaved. Yeah, it was a different. Scotty, yeah, I think
Scotty shaved his head too. I think he did a Lex Luthor thing, shaved his head for the camera.
Yeah, I am not doing that. No. I'm telling you right now. I have an odd shaped. You might. Actually, it's funny because your sister posted a picture the other day from her wedding, and you're in the background with, like, facial hair and glasses. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, that's
Michael's long lost brother.
Yeah. So, but no, I have an odd shaped head. So, and my wife loves my long hair, and she would probably burst into tears if I ever shaved it. So that's she's yelling in the background right now, actually. So
no, don't do it.
Mind the Gap asks, didn't Neil write some Smallville publications? Yes, he was involved in the magazine.
Yes, that's right.
If I'm correct.
He did. Yeah, he got hired to do some articles for the magazine, and that was short-lived. But he did a couple of pretty in-depth articles too for the Smallville magazine that was published alongside it at the time, and they were doing magazines for all their shows that were WB, CW shows. Like Supernatural had its own magazine, and for a while there, he did. That was one of the standouts, I think, for him, going from doing a fan thing to actually being hired professionally, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, I was really proud and not jealous at all at the time. More proud than jealous.
Yeah,
maybe like 70-30. I'm not quite sure. But no, it's funny to think that we're on the cusp of a new Superman show, and Smallville lasted for 10 years, so that gave the site a lot of stuff to work with in terms of reviews and articles and arguing with other sites behind the scenes that no one ever knows about. And now we've had Supergirl, and it's not like I'm trying to delegitimize Supergirl, but this isn't a Supergirl site. This is a Superman site. So Supergirl is adjacent. So it's kind of cool to be once again on the cusp of this. I don't think Superman and Lois is going to last 10 years.
No.
Mainly because you have two teenagers as part of the cast, and they're going to age out quickly. So, I mean, they're not going to have like Superman drop dead of a heart attack in season 5, and all that. So I at least I don't think so.
No.
But it's neat that, one, I'm glad that they haven't gotten shut down yet, because The Flash got shut down last week due to COVID, and it's getting so bad over here. like I haven't really joked about it all that much because it makes me kind of want to cry, but we're going through like a surge like you wouldn't believe. So I am just shocked that more stuff isn't getting shut down.
Yeah, well, more people are dying in one single day each day than died in the whole of the 9/11, the whole of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And
yeah, we're basically having a 9/11 a day, and no one really wants to talk about it. So,
well, it's actually really good news for the industry here in Australia, because we've gone so many days with 0 public contractions of the disease, not just 0 deaths, but 0 everything. And a lot of the Hollywood productions and TV shows are coming down here and filming down here because we've pretty much got no restrictions anymore, because things are just going so well. So you might see a lot of them come down this way.
Yeah, as long as they quarantine for 14 days once you get there,
that's right,
and everyone's tested, you really should be able to be. It's not like Vancouver, which is still really close to the United States. So yeah, I'm. If Rachel and I could, we'd probably be moving to Australia, in all honesty, for a variety of reasons. Y'all got better health care. I'm just going to say that as one of them. But no, I can't believe we're at the end of another year too, by the way.
Yeah, well, we're going to discuss that in depth next week once we come to our final show next week. But pretty much we're done for tonight and for this week. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in to this finally 1 hour length WGBS TV episode. I want to thank everyone in the comments on YouTube participating live as you watch the show. Thank you to our sponsors, Douglas Meacham and John Patrick Van Pelt, who both joined us tonight as live viewers. We really appreciate your support. And thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And don't forget, we'll be back next week on Tuesday, December 15th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. We hope to talk to you then. Hope to see you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.